Well, most of you know what's coming. Jim Fowler, who seems like I've watched forever, although I know I'm older than he is, I think. Either he's well-preserved or I'm not, is going to join us, and helping him as his helper, his helpmate, is going to be Steve the Llama Frankfurt, who was, I think, gave the last speech last year, that extraordinary speech about drug-free America. Anyway, Jim Fowler and Steve the Llama Frankfurt.
Ricky, thanks for that heartfelt introduction. Jim is in better shape than you. But for agreeing to let me address this impressive gathering again, even before you knew what I was going to say, and in fact, even before I knew what I was going to say. Ricky knows that I like to sort of buck convention sometime, and last year at TED Cell, and it was TED Cell, underlined Cell, I devoted my presentation to explaining how not to sell a product, and namely that was drugs to kids. And that was the campaign for the partnership, and we were very happy about the reception that it got from this audience. This year, we put together a presentation that has absolutely nothing to do with what the other featured speakers are talking about. And in a conference filled with visions of a computer-generated reality and some powerful messages, and I told Ricky a few minutes ago, yesterday just blew me away. It was incredible. I'd like to interject a reminder of the natural world that we all still live in, by really bringing out a guy who's about as high-tech as a buggy whip. Pete? I need some light up here, can't see. A little light, Pete, a little more. Thank you, perfect.
There's only one way to get it.
The monitor's not working in front here.
Dive in and hold
Can't
on.
see it. We all know this fellow, our kids' hero. They worshipped him for years on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And he's the one who did all the heavy lifting while Marlin sat in the boat. Now, over the past 30 years, Jim has introduced us to some of the most extraordinary adventures in some of the wildest places on Earth.
100 pounds, and almost more than I bargained for.
And by the way, that's the name of his new book, which I've got. I'll show it to you in a bit.
It was deemed unwise to tranquilize.
Watch this. You won't believe it.
Our biologist, Dick Denny, came up with a plan. He decided that it would be safest for the elephant if we merely jumped on the animal and pinned it in the snow.
I got to tell you that elk almost had a heart attack. A maniac in a helicopter, 10,000 feet up in Colorado, lands on his back. Watch this one. This is even crazier. This is 800 feet up over Peru.
Condors live there in abundance and roosted in the crevices of the rocky cliffs. My plan was to descend to a ledge in a crevice to capture a condor.
This is the one that gives you heart conditions.
Hidden deep in the long crevice was the condor I was after. Suddenly, I was in a dangerous situation. That gator in the Louisiana bayou was not only big, but also very quick to react to our presence and our ropes. We were attempting to get 2 ropes on the gator so we could control it.
You got to turn the lights up a bit. Can you imagine what that condor felt when this madman 800 feet over the ocean, suddenly appeared on a rope, grabbed him by the legs, and it was the beginning of a telemetry system that they basically to save the condors. But I kept thinking to myself, what must that bird be thinking? You know, sitting there in a cave, and all of a sudden, Johnny Weissmuller rolls in. Our part of the program is not going to be particularly controversial. I think Kurt Anderson, if he's still here, will like it. It's not about old media or new media. It's a subject that most of us really find fascinating. And as an aside, I might mention that Wild Kingdom, I think, is the singular most successful show in the history of television, syndicated show, still running in a number of places, actually. And Jim, you have to have the experience of walking through an airport with Jim. You could be walking through with Jim and Robert Redford, and the ladies go for Jim. He has become so well known. He is, of course, he is the identity of Mutual of Omaha, and the impact of what he's done on children, on my kids, on my brother's kids, has been, it's extraordinary, just extraordinary. He's now expanded, by the way. You probably have seen him on the Discovery Cable channel for the Animal Planet. This is his whole new thing that's happening on top of the Mutual of Omaha. For years, Jim has also, of course, been the #1 guest quoting Carson on the Carson show while Carson was on. And when Jim would come on, the ratings used to jump 20 points. And in case some of you, I think you saw some of the ones we had running out here, I just picked out 2 of my favorites that I really wanted to share with you today. They're short, but they're really worth seeing. Pete, can you run those 2, please?
I pick him right here?
Yeah, just pick him up there and put him right back there. 'Cause all you have to do, he can't get back. In fact, he doesn't have any mandible for eating. For biting. Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Take your steak. That's all right. Wait a minute. I thought he'd go under the stick.
Yeah, you thought he'd go on the stick. Sure, Jim. Now I know why Marlin stays in the tent.
All right. By the way, this can move quite rapidly.
I noticed that.
See?
Does he know the banana's there? Of course, they normally don't fly down, I suppose, in nature, tied with string on a branch, do they? That's a very crazy tree, you know.
I don't think you do, but this...
What's he doing? You didn't tell me he could fly.
I didn't know he could fly.
Well, what the hell else don't you know about him? If you don't know he can fly, you don't know he could be poisonous, right? This is going to turn out to be the flying poisonous insect and has nothing to do with being a Goliath beetle.
I do know about this one.
Well, I hope you know more about this, Jim, than you do about that.
This is Celebi's ape, and it's one of the, he's worshipped as an ancestor to human beings. Hey, give me that word.
How long have you had him under control, Jim?
No wonder. I wonder what he's
Just a little hand gesture. He's perfectly relaxed there.
I meant to have that.
How you doing?
Try to take that away from him.
What?
Just say you're going to take it away from him.
I'd like the banana.
Just tell him you want the banana.
I want the banana. Okay, I don't want it.
Doc, give me the banana.
Give it here. Give it here. Come on. Give me the banana. Give me the banana. This is called Doc?
Doc, come here.
It's called Doc.
Come on. Open. Hey,
Oh,
Doc,
he's frisky,
just a
isn't he?
minute here. Come on. Here's your chair. You want to hold on?
Easy, Doc.
You'll set this chair on.
Man and his monkey.
You'll set this chair on.
Doc, on your chair.
On your
He punched me right in the mouth.
Doc, I don't. He's all right. He's just playing.
Playing, right?
Oh, God, we got a million of them. I'd love to run more. You know, our years in working together taught me one thing about Jim. He would rather be wrestling with a 20-foot boa constrictor deep in the Amazon forest than to get into an elevator at Time Warner building and go above the second floor. And I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later because you can't believe what turns this guy off. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Jim Fowler.
I like that comment about the buggy whip, you know. But that's
well, I only tell the truth.
That's a good way to communicate.
You're talking to communicators.
Technology doesn't matter in that case, yeah.
You know, it's funny. I did one fast thing. Last night, this morning, this afternoon, any number of friends are coming out. Bobby, Mike, Ken, Courtney, they're saying, does he have animals? Are you going to have animals? And I said, truthfully, I haven't the foggiest idea because he wouldn't tell me. And the reason he told me that is he never told Carson. I'm supposed to be Carson, ha ha.
Yeah.
But to be a laugh. So I'm as blind on this as any of you.
Did you say, do I have animals? Do I have?
Ken,
Oh, yeah,
Ken,
right.
Ken Starr, you're helping him with the,
fixing that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
Steve over there?
fixing it up.
Okay.
Give me a few
Ken, when we give you the cue, you're going to hang on to that pole for us and we'll let you know when.
Yeah, and, but
Actually, I wanted to say one.
Yeah, go
I wanted
ahead.
to say one thing. What we're going to do there has been rather interesting, and my brother was going to do it, and we had picked Mike to do it, and then I decided I did not want to risk my brother's life, so that I would pick the best friend he has in the world to take over for him. So you're going to be asked to do this, and you'll never be the same.
Anyway, by the way, Steve, that is a bit of a stretch, isn't it? But
How long, Stretch?
no, you know, Steve.
Ask him if he
I've
has
learned-
another jacket.
That's all right. Hey, you never know what are in these pockets either. You know, Johnny used to squirm, but geez, no, that's all right. Steve, people ask me to come speak, and then they always say, by the way, bring your animals. So, you know, I know they want my animals. You don't need to tell me that instead of me, but we may have a few things here today. We may have a few things. I'm, by the way, I'm not an environmentalist. I'm a human environmentalist. And that means I think if we have a world that's good for humans, we're bound to have open space and plenty of room for wildlife and wilderness. We've got to start positioning things a little differently.
Somebody told me something last week, or a couple of weeks ago. I was very surprised. There's a woman that overheard a conversation you were having with somebody and saying that Jim Fowler was in favor of zoos. And I did a sort of double take on that because I know we've talked about that a lot. Did you say that to her?
Well, I did. I am, because my purpose today, I'm trying to be more of a spokesperson for the natural world, okay? We need more of those. That's why, frankly, I was wondering what the heck am I doing here? But then it occurred to me this is what communication's all about.
This is virtual reality.
Frankly, this is where I should be. We need more spokespeople, which you may see sort of understands a little bit lacking. I don't know who the spokespeople are for the natural world. And because of that, I vote for zoos. Obviously, we have to make sure we take care of animals in the proper way. But zoos form connections with millions of people. If we don't have these facilities in our inner city situations, God knows what's going to happen. And I'll tell you why. It's not to save animals and trees, Steve. And I hope that today we can talk a little bit more about that. It's to save a quality of life for we humans. I don't know how these messages haven't come out, but listen, Al Gore didn't even open his mouth in the last 3 years.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
In the State of the Nation address, the most powerful country on earth, I didn't hear one mention of our relationship with this earth. Not one. The things that are facing our civilization, our society, deal with how we treat nature. Every social tragedy in the world today, from Haiti to Somalia, I'm getting on my soapbox now, you hope. I know this isn't good television, but I'll go ahead.
This is a great audience.
Iraq, Somalia, all these places are social tragedies that affect our national security because we humans have ignored the laws of nature. In Haiti, there's not a tree left. Somalia is turning to a desert. Can't find a place to put a potato in Rwanda. Iraq, which is the cradle of civilization, has 7 civilizations that all disappeared because they've exceeded the capacity of the land to support the people.
Well,
Now, what I want to do is to show you. Of course, you've turned around a little bit. You used to not know anything about nature, and now you're raising llamas and everything else. But I want to talk with you a little bit about our ambassadors, our living ambassadors, that we need to educate people so we can start thinking about the laws of nature.
People say to me, and some of you know that I'm raising llamas, and they'll come up and they'll say, why llamas? And I'll have two answers. One is I simply will say, why roses? And I'll also say, Jim Fowler. He really got me into this world, and it's made my life and my family's life a much more exciting life.
Well, you know, we're threatening to outlaw any animal in captivity. It's going to be a mistake, because I want to show you some of the things that we can talk about and some of the connections that can be made by having the real thing here. So you notice how smoothly this is all working.
I like that.
My friend,
that segue.
Steve Hottie is here, and Steve and I have worked for years.
Ken, prepare yourself.
Right.
We're in trouble.
We've worked together for years, and I know this is a good audience out here, right? Steve Hottie came up, whoops, thanks, Steve. Steve came up here all the way from Arizona, where he's doing a Renaissance festival. And Steve, why don't you tell us just a little bit about what we're going to see here?
This is a steppe eagle, and she's thrown her hood off, and she wants to go to her favorite perch. So we're going to need our poles hidden, or over here.
Ken Star.
We need the lights up all the way. That's
lights
good.
Up.
And we need somebody just to stabilize that a little bit.
Ken.
There you go. And by the way, we checked the audience.
Ken. Yeah.
No, that's right. We checked the audience, and Steve is the only bald-headed.
You're perfect. This is good.
We would have a bald-headed guy to hold the perch. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
He needs to kneel down just a little bit.
Tell him to kneel down a little bit.
Ken, you got to kneel down a little bit, like when we were.
There you go. And very still.
Now this is something.
I think she's ready to go to our
All right,
volunteer.
ready, Steve?
Hold on.
There you go.
Good catch.
Everybody just sit still.
Just stay still. Hold still.
I noticed everybody had black hats for a good reason.
Don't look up and say, wow. Trained but not housebroken. Hup.
Beautiful.
That's all right. This is, ladies and gentlemen, you have to describe what you're seeing. This is really an ambassador for the natural world. This is a steppe eagle from Russia. And this has been trained in the way that they used to in the Middle Ages. And the final way to pull your eagle back out of the sky is to allure.
Hup.
Hope you got a nice close shot on that. A Wild Kingdom cameraman always misses it.
Yeah, real low there. Yeah, you
Good. And that's the simulated bait. Any questions, Steve? I mean, I know you're pretty close to that.
My hands are still shaking.
Watch yourself, Steve, because this now will attack the trainer. Yeah.
Do you want me back this way?
Pull your knee back. There you go. That's okay. Good. Good enough, Steve. Thank you very much. Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful bird. Wow.
Is that all you can say?
It's fantastic. I'm just...
This bird has got 1 million years of evolution behind it.
Talk about where it's from Russia?
Yeah. It's from Russia. Of course, the eagles are the larger soaring hawks. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that can take very large prey. That usually goes after things like rabbits. It's a soaring bird, so you see it around mountains.
Beautiful.
And but we have several things here today that I hope will represent some different diversity that's here on Earth.
Can I tell them a funny story?
Yeah, well,
about a bird?
Go ahead.
Jim has the largest eagle ever in captivity.
Not eagle. Right.
Well, both. Beautiful. That was very good. It's a harpy eagle that he took out of a nest of a silk cotton tree, which is equivalent to our redwood trees here in this country. And what's about an 7-foot wingspread, Nappy.
Right.
And Jim was doing the Carson show one night back when we were working together a lot, and he brought Nappy into the office, and we were in the Time Life building, and he set up a stand for her with a hood, and sat her up on the stand. And at one point, he was going to show it to somebody at the building, and took the hood off. and there was an American Airlines plane flying by, and Nappy got ready to go right through the window for that plane. And I thought, wow, that means very, very impressive.
I don't think she was trying to mate with it, though, Steve. Don't say it. No, but anyway, the Harpy, yeah. I did the pilot film for Wild Kingdom in 1962 with the Harpy Eagle. But anyway, we talk a lot about biodiversity, the miracles of nature. You know, the problem that I've got with that, and you know, I'm the first one to want to save everything. Problem is, Steve, we've got to start talking more about what's in it for us. We talk so much about saving the things here on this planet, and look at all the miraculous information we have. You know, we know how to turn animals into robots. We know how to make big stuffed animals, but what about the real thing, and what about saving habitat? So we're going to show you a few things here today.
I got to say that
we got a few props we got to get rid of here. That's right.
I guess speaking for my own kids, and as you know, I've got 6 of them.
Yeah.
We've been lucky to have you up there, and I think that interestingly, Wild Kingdom really set the tone for what's happened in this whole industry today. And I see what's coming down that aisle right now. You son of a gun. Mike, in case that's not a llama, that's an alpaca.
Now wait a minute. How did you know that was an alpaca?
Because I learned from you.
By golly, you're right. Well, you know.
Oh, look at this.
I'm afraid that you never know what's going to happen in here, Steve.
Oh, that is
Bonnie
beautiful.
Cromwell.
Courtney, you want to take this home?
From. And we'll come right around. I think she's going to come up on the stage, Steve. See, we can't just bring her right up on the stage now.
Oh, she's beautiful.
The people that are going to be helping us out here today are all educators. Bonnie goes to over 200 schools a year. And guess what the name of this alpaca is, Steve? You got to talk about this room full of creative people.
I get
Owl.
Owl?
Al the alpaca.
Al the alpaca?
Right? Yeah. Anyway, here, Steve, if you don't mind, look at this, Steve. I think, yeah, right.
They love carrots and grapes. It's one of their favorite treats.
Okay.
You want a carrot? It's good stuff.
Uh-oh.
She doesn't know me yet. Oh,
Bonnie, how old is Al?
He's 3 years old.
3 years old. Okay.
He loves to smell people's breath if you'd like to blow in his face.
Smell breath. I wouldn't do that after lunch. My goodness. Yeah.
You almost fainted.
Lucky for you, he doesn't do those great big sloppy, wet dogs.
Well, I've got 11 as of next month, but ours are llamas, and they're much bigger, but these are fantastic.
Well,
these are much more expensive, by the way.
Now this is one example, though, of how animals adapt for specific climates, of course, and this is from the very cold weathers. And this is very well trained, if you'll notice. Say cush.
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 We need the whole body down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's terrific.
Very nice, huh? Yeah. And of course, they've been a beast of burden, but we could talk a lot about the information. The alpacas are the ones that are used mostly for the fur. They're much better fur than the llamas. Okay.
And unfortunately, in Peru, they eat them, which got me quite upset when I found that one out.
But again, we're not here just to show animals and to tell how fascinating animals are. I want to get a little deeper into it, Steve.
Go ahead.
Well, let's thank you, Bonnie, and we're going to see Bonnie a little bit later. And
see you later.
Got to go out and munch on some grass outside.
When you get a chance after this, you got to feel her. She's like cashmere. She's just incredible. That beautiful, Ricky? And they don't bite. One of the things I learned about them is they have no upper teeth, so that nature has figured out a way for them to be able to graze on grass and not pull the roots out, so that they. By the way, interesting. And I'm going to give you a fact you might not know. Alpacas and llamas originated in North America about 45 million years ago, and then they're called camelids. They're cousins to the camel, the guanaco, the vicuna, and the llama. And the ones that went to South America became alpacas and llamas, and the ones that went to Africa became camels. Didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know you knew that, but anyway, that's
beautiful.
Amazing. He does amazing. But I want to talk about another pet peeve of mine, Steve. You know, we are commercializing now the fear of animals. We're doing it in a way that's affecting an awful lot of attitudes of people around this country. A lot of the talk show hosts that interview me, their reaction is one of fear. Fox Network and Bob Urich have begun to now exploit animal attack on people.
Oprah's doing it.
Oprah's done it. They're all
I saw
doing it
that,
because
yeah.
it's frankly commercially popular to do so.
Yeah, yeah.
But what is that going to do to our attitudes toward animals? I want to show you a couple of others now that you do have to know about if you're going to be walking through the hills of California. No question about it. We have to learn to replace fear with respect. But let's put it in perspective, you know. If an animal bites somebody, we make a big deal about it, and the media covers it from one end to the other. Last year in America, 25,000 people were maimed by lawnmowers, and they never even hit the headlines,
That's
right?
fantastic.
We lost limbs, and actually anything that has commercial incentive is usually not regulated.
Mm-hmm.
Horses killed 800 people last year in America, and there's nothing said about a horse.
Never heard it.
But I want to show you a living ambassador for the natural world that, in my opinion, is one of the things that deserves here to be here on this planet with us. And Mary from Wild Things, which is a group right here in Monterey,
Oh, God.
do a great job. And Mary, I don't know whether our is it our friend Werman that has a problem there? I'm going to come around and see. I want to show you now. Now, here's a question. How many people in the room can... Well, Steve, you know what this is, right?
It's
all right. How many people in the room know what this animal is? All right, we got one vote for an ocelot. A mountain lion we got a vote for.
Cougar?
We got a cougar vote. There are about 7 names for this animal. Would you...
Puma?
Maybe you can want to walk her out in front, huh?
Oh, she's beautiful.
Well, you know what's happened. She has already detected something else that's here in the room with us. Not you, Steve, but just
Thanks,
the
Jim.
point. Now, the point is about all this. Siegfried and Roy, eat your heart out. This is not a circus act, but I just want to show you the face.
Beautiful.
Take a chance, folks, and look into the face of this animal and learn to be observant. You know, we're now living a life where we have all the substitutes for the real thing. How are we going to keep kids and families in the future connected with something that's utterly real if we make it so we'll never be able to see this? How old is this guy?
About 5 months.
About 5 months, all right. But notice the curiosity. This has no problem with humans. We're part of her family. I think it's probably an insult to a cougar.
Can you hear the growl here?
It's an insult to a cougar to use a regular cat toy, but we'll see if he responds to this. I think he's focused underneath. You want to put him out here on the front?
Sure, if he wants to jump in.
All right, here we go. Come on, guys. There you go. They have an instinct to play with things, but I think this is probably a little too small for him. And that instinct goes back, of course, millions of years. That's a face, though. It's a fairly young animal, not very old. And by the way, if you're walking in the mountains in California, you have to know what to do if one of these are around, because they are now encroaching on areas where the deer are and where the people are. There have been a couple of people killed. But I want to recommend a couple of things. Carry a backpack. I mean, these are some of the answers to it. Carry somebody else's dog along with you. Your neighbors or somebody, right? Not your own. And also carry a stick. You can threaten a cat. Don't try this with a bear, but you can threaten a cat and they'll run away from you. So we need to learn about this, just like we need to learn how to be streetwise in the city.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Ricky, Reverend is going to take this one home. We told him before the show, it's yours.
Yeah. And don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm not here to try to promote animals as pets either. It's not right for obviously, and if you notice he's tearing up the chair back there.
Because there's something under it.
That happens with your furniture too. It happens very quickly with furniture, in fact, yeah. But you know, we're not here to talk about having these in captivity. Only those people who are qualified for education, I think, should be allowed to be able to take this in front of school groups. We've started an organization in America called Ambassadors for Wildlife Through Education. And these are dedicated young people like Steve and Connie and various other people who go to schools. And you cannot imagine the look on the kids' faces
To really touch a
when they
living
actually
animal.
can form a connection.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we keep the real thing possible
Yeah, yeah.
so that we can influence and affect public attitudes.
Well, you know, what's sad is how few kids do get a chance. I know that another mutual friend of Jim's and mine had a llama in the city down in Bed-Stuy, and was taking him through the neighborhood, and again doing one of those school tours. And one of the kids came up to him and they said, "Hey, what is that?" And he said, "Well, it's a llama." He said, "You get lima beans from those things?" And they really meant it. They had no idea what they were looking at, and it's very sad.
I wish I'd heard Stephen Jay Gould last year, because Stephen Jay Gould has said really what the situation is.
Yeah.
He said we humans aren't going to save anything if we don't all get together, and those things that we love we may save. This is the way you create a love and an interest in something. Not just Bonnie, who's here in the back, but Bonnie, are we ready yet? Okay. I want to show you another amazing animal that's once again has evolved a little bit different direction.
Oh, wow.
From our mountain lion. And frankly, this is why the mountain lion was looking underneath.
Oh, beautiful.
Take a look at that.
What
folks.
is that, Jim?
Yeah.
What is
well, take a look at it. Again, you know, people in the room here know how function follows form. So if you're observant enough and you look very closely at this, notice the hind quarters are very powerful. This is a cat that
related to a leopard?
Is found in Africa. Well, who knows what this might be? I mean, we have a lot of people here who are bird watchers, I'm sure, and a few other things. This is the jumping cat from Africa that's called the serval.
Beautiful.
And it has an instinct, Bonnie tells me, to very quick reactions. But now these reactions once. This cat is not afraid of people.
Is it full grown, Bonnie?
This is not quite full grown, no. But it has an instinct. Anything that, Bonnie, you may know how to do this a little better than I do. But in spite of all the people here, it does have an instinct to move at anything that moves quickly. And that goes back 1,000,000 years of chase, attack, kill, and eat, anything that's a fast-moving object.
Beautiful.
Bonnie, can you tell us what's the name of this one?
We named him Jumanji.
Jumanji. That's a good name. I won't ask why, but that's... Now watch this cat start realizing where it is, in spite of Ricky sitting over here with a similar-looking coat. Now this cat, now look at the hindquarters. You notice, folks, we think we're so smart in how we design things, those automobiles sitting downstairs. This is the ultimate form of function. And this cat will do 15 feet in the air and hit a bird out of the air. This is designed for jumping. And
beautiful. It's just beautiful.
There you go. It gives you a little bit of idea of the quickness. Now the question is, in the 21st century, are we willing to have this disappear from the face of the earth? I don't really hear anybody talking about it, Steve. I don't hear anybody telling we humans what we're going to miss if we lose something like this. And if we don't start talking about what's in it for us, I can see what's in it for Bonnie. You've got quite a relationship, Bonnie.
One of the things that's interesting, and we've talked about this last night, is that so much of what our kids see today is a second-hand experience. They're seeing it on a television screen.
Well,
now they'll be seeing it on the internet. But the animal is a whole other thing, and you can see it here today.
Okay, well, I think we've done very well. And before anybody applauds, can you hear the communication?
Oh,
Speaking about communication.
Beautiful.
We have a big kiss. Oh, what
Right.
a good boy.
Beautiful.
Oh, is that your plan?
Now she's really learning. In fact, you want to toss this on the floor and see if she'll walk across the stage for people? Let's see if she'll walk across the stage for people.
Oh, sure.
Steve, you just stay right there. Do you think she'll walk, or is she happier up high? Sometimes this cat is happier up a little bit higher, no? Okay. She's happy where she is. Well, we'll leave her.
How about
God, I feel like Carson and the monkey.
Right.
I'm not moving for that.
Okay.
No?
Well, we've got a couple other things to show you, and we want to make sure that our show goes on here. But I'm serious about that, Steve. We're at a crossroads. We've got to decide: are we humans going to reserve areas of this planet that are utterly real, or are we going to pave over things? We're at a crossroads.
Oh, it's a tragic one.
Well, the tragedy is that we haven't started talking about what is quality life. Is quality life things that we invent? Is it Disney World and shopping malls and cars? Or does it involve the outdoors? Those are some of the discussions we have to start having.
Well, I think you've caused a lot of this talk to begin to happen, certainly with Wild Kingdom. Discovery Channel has now followed, and and it's part of it.
Yeah.
I think the things you did with Carson got massive people their attention.
Did you hear how people cheered when they heard the narration that I was giving on Wild Kingdom? You know, suddenly, Marlon, do you see what I see? No, Jim. What do you see, Jim? I mean, that was brilliant narration.
Incredible copy. Incredible copy.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got now something, folks. You know, I've learned, too, in your business and people's business here, you've got to tell people what they're seeing, or they may not know.
What are we going to see next, Jim? I'm afraid to ask.
What you're going to see now is something that very few people on Earth have ever seen. Would you get that fake beaver up out of there, please? Yeah. Stick that in your pocket. Okay.
You sure?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Here we go.
I don't know,
don't like
Steve.
cats.
Let's move back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to move back a lot.
There you go. Huh? We have everything out of the room now? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're safe. There's
Okay,
nothing out there that the bird's going to see.
Steve
right?
Hottie. Yeah. Shut those curtains.
What we have here is a hybrid peregrine falcon. 30 years ago, this would have been impossible to present before you because they were on the endangered species list. They were almost gone. People got together and they started to breed these birds in captivity, primarily falconers and scientists. And through their efforts, they've been able to release some 5,000 peregrine falcons back into the wild. The same techniques that were used for breeding the falcons are now being used for California condors, for red wolves, and the whooping crane.
That's fabulous.
And they're having a wonderful comeback. We're going to fly this falcon in here. And this is like Jim says, it's like flying a fighter plane in a barn, a small barn. Ordinarily, we would fly this bird outside. We do a lot of Renaissance festivals with these birds and educational programs and such.
You can stay there, Ricky. Just sit. Uh-oh, here we go.
Hup. 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 Hup, hup, hup.
I saw somebody, a couple of, the bald-headed guy here, yeah, I mean, that was good.
Ricky?
I don't know if you can see this back here,
Ted.
folks. Again, we're having to move along a little bit here. The falcon has made its kill, luckily not on you. And now the lure, it's taking a food reward off that. Now the trainer has to go up to it and convince it. But Steve, if you'll move your chair so people can see
Certainly,
it.
Jim.
Well, no, just a little bit. See how it's mantling over its prey. It's putting the wings out so no other predator can see this, see the meat. I hate to tell you folks, but it's jungle out there, and this bird has to be aware all the time that something bigger can come down, sort of like New York City, you know, it'd come down and grab it. So that's mantling over its prey and getting the food reward. I wish we could have set this up a little bit better for you. In the Middle Ages, you had falcons and eagles depending on your position in society, like we apparently have automobiles.
What would we have?
Well,
I'm afraid to ask.
only the kings and the emperors could have the falcon.
Oh, good.
And this is the fastest living thing. This will do 100 miles an hour in level flight.
Wow.
And Steve offered to fly it loose out over the balcony in the city of Monterey a little later today. I don't know if anybody wants to do it, but
We'll come back to you?
this is an amazing bird. This will go up 400 or 500 feet and dive at speeds of that speed right out here.
Incredible.
But we couldn't do that in the room. Okay. Well, Steve, right.
That is
That's great.
beautiful.
I think we've got a couple other things to show you now.
And Steve is talking to it all the time. It picks up on the sound?
That's right. Now, by the way, Steve is one of the, we've been working together for years. Steve does training for movies, for special things, and he has quite a stable of birds of prey, and he has a vulture that's one of the fastest meat-eating vultures in the world, right?
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, let's thank Steve Hottie and his group, okay? Great. I know we're running out of time here.
No, we're continuing for a minute.
We got just a couple of things to do.
No, I want to tell you a story that is really rather extraordinary. I'll say it right in front of him. Last year, Jim was given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Explorers Club in New York. It reminded me because of the Falcon. There's a great story about this. And it was Jim, Buzz Aldrin, and Bob Ballard. I mean, it was incredible company. And he was giving the award, as I understood it, and we were there. It was fantastic, as the man in the world who has brought most to children of the world in terms of explaining to them the world of the natural world. And I think that's a phenomenal, incredible thing.
Well, it's good. People like Bonnie here.
Well, he got it for that, and Aldrin got it for stepping on the moon, and I think they're
Steve,
both kind of balanced.
Yeah, but Steve, we may have to have some help on this one. And if you can identify
Sure,
this one, Steve, if you can identify this one, you're really doing well.
Looks to me like a...
We've got some real biological diversity here coming out of our ears, Steve. This is one that I haven't seen that often.
It's a lemur?
No, it isn't. Bonnie's one of the few people that have one of these. Of course, you're getting a rear-end view of it at the moment, but that's all right. There you go.
What is that?
Anybody know what that is?
No, I've never seen that one.
Well, again, this is African. This is the genet.
Ah.
I might add, folks, do you know that the laws and regulations of the state of California are so severe that you can hardly have any native animals to take out and educate people? I think we're doing a lot to suffocate education, and that's why she has to resort to something that's out of the country.
Is she related to cat?
This is a civet. This is a genet, and these genets are very quick, if you'll notice. Now, Steve, do you have somebody that could help us show you a little trick here? Would you like to do this, or do you want Ricky to do it? I don't know.
Oh, I'd like Ricky. Come on, Rick.
Anybody else? Ricky, come on over.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Come on, Rick.
Folks, what we're doing is we're going to set... You're great. You're great.
No, you look good with that.
We're setting this up. We're setting this up for the camera, right? We have to do everything today with cameras and internets and television in mind. All you have to do is stand here, and you want to tell him exactly what to do? Whoops, wait a minute. Turn this way, all right? And get who's got the camera? Get ready.
Get ready to shoot.
Hold her up. There you go. Hold it still. Look at that. How about that? Amazing.
I didn't want it. And you get to take her home.
Of course, it took years of training. You got to do that.
That's fantastic. That's fabulous.
Now, as a sort of to wrap this up, Steve, I'm used to having 5 minutes on the Today Show, so this is quite a luxury. Bonnie, you may want to help me here.
Me?
I think because are we plugged in?
We are wired.
Okay. Oh, I think we have something first over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the thing is fast. You can turn yourself toward the audience if you want.
Oh, thank you.
The
you want the left or the right?
the thing that I find is so fantastic is how we judge animals based on very surface judgments, just on the way they look. We like those things that look like we humans, but the things that don't look like humans, we are repulsed by. For example, I don't think that anybody would have ever produced a film out of Hollywood called Free Crocky or Free Snakey, right? Free Willy's okay. But anything that doesn't have...
Actually, this is animation. This is not real. Relax, Gloria.
Anything that doesn't have a cute face, this does not say...
That's a cute face.
This does not say, have a good day and smile. It never shuts its eye.
What is it?
It has no legs. And it's a Burmese python.
Beautiful.
A baby. And the point is, though, this, by the way, is a great way to get a seat on the subway in New York City. It's a great way to do it, yeah. Anyway, Steve, why don't we put this... You don't mind this, do you?
Sure, Jim. Now I feel like Carson.
I want to tell you a little bit about...
It's aiming at my eyes.
I want to tell you a little bit about what's dangerous.
Oh, it's very heavy.
Actually, the tail is more dangerous than any other part.
Sure, Jim.
Especially if it...
It certainly is.
If it gets 2 wraps around your neck.
Of course,
You've
Jim.
got to be very... Now, just hold that carefully like this and don't squeeze it. That's right.
Good.
Now, if you think that's a snake, if you'll stand over here, I want to show you a
Marissa,
snake.
you want to come up and meet... No, I got to do
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
You
this
guys
is
might want
very
to help
heavy.
me here on this one, huh? I want to show you a snake, Steve.
That looks like a bed.
This is still growing, but we
This
might...
one's moving.
Yeah, this is still growing. Here we go. Why don't you move over there a little
I'll
bit?
move anywhere.
There you go.
Certainly.
And you go up
Stanley,
here in
would you
the
like a
front.
snake?
I want to see, Steve.
Hello.
Do we have any volunteers? I'd
Yeah,
like to
just
try to measure this.
hold it.
I'd like to
Just
try
a
to
minute, just a
measure
minute.
this.
Hold it. Is Ken Ewan here today? Where's Ken? Is he here? Come on down here, Ken. Come on, hurry, fast. You got to move fast. I'm about to be
We
choked.
need about 10 people, right?
Yeah, I want Ken Ewan.
All right.
Where's Nick Negroponte? Is he here? Where is he? Chickened out. Yeah, you come on up.
Okay.
Courtney.
We're going to probably need
Courtney,
about 10
come up.
people.
We need you. Come on.
Courtney, come on up.
Come on up.
We got
Let's go.
Rick here, yeah?
I've got Rick.
All right, everybody form a line right across
Okay,
here.
Rick.
And put your arms out, your hands out. We need some more
I
people.
got more.
Steve.
Hang
Come
on a sec.
I know that everybody...
I want Andreas. Where is he? Is he here? Andreas? Are you here? Come on down. Bobby Greenberg, where are you? Get up here. Take off your hat.
When we do this in front of a kids audience, 100 kids come up at one
Is Doug
time.
Glenn
so
here from Mattel today?
Come over this. You guys get out here.
Is Dory
Stand in
Berenson?
a
Where's
line.
Dory?
Right in the
Dory
straight line.
Berenson?
Face the audience. There you go.
Mitch
In a
or
straight
Dory?
line. All right, put your hands out.
Dory, come on, move
There you
fast.
go. I got this
Come
in
on,
here.
Dory. Quick.
Now pass it this way. Pass it this way. You go on the tail. The tail's more dangerous. So if you'll go down.
I was just set up.
Is
Oh,
Mark
okay. You're
Benneroff
up
in the
here.
audience?
You go around that
Where's
side.
Benneroff?
Get that off your neck, out in your
Is
arms
Benneroff
now.
here? We'll
There
set
you
him up
go.
for good. Come on down here, your shorts.
All right.
I'm being choked.
Sorry, we'll just let him. I'll sort of
Mike,
manage the head here.
Frankfurt,
That's good.
come on.
That's good. He's okay. He's fine. He's fine. Now, what does it feel like? Anybody tell me?
Oh, that's
It's all right, yeah?
Come on, Mark. Up
Let's
here.
pass it. Let's pass
Where's
it this
Hazel?
way a little bit, okay?
Where's Hazel?
Now stretch it out. Stretch it out.
Trying to curl around this all.
This one's trying to go for my chest.
Great. You got to stretch it a little bit there.
Touch his chin, as if it's
Let's do
very,
a measurement now. Who wants
Yeah,
to?
we're measured, yeah.
Steve Hottie, would you paste that off?
I got a question, Jim. Ken
Yeah.
just made an observation. This one is cold. Why is it cold? And this one's very warm.
It's just room temperature. This has had a heater under it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Much more active.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicholas, you like that?
Anyway, well,
Nicholas
that's
should work
great.
ahead.
Steve, measure it, will you? Let's stretch it out a little bit.
Anybody
I
got a
just want
tape
to see what
measure?
this is. I got
Measure
the
it,
head.
measure it.
I would like
This
to
thing is
hold up
warm.
the
Yeah.
Steve
One,
arm right now.
two,
Okay.
three.
There you go. Okay, well, Steve, that's it. Are we going to leave now? Huh?
Oh, wait a minute. Would you take,
Are we leaving?
Would you take my snake, please?
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Wait, I got something for you. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on.
There you go.
Now, I'm going to get, what do we call these?
Handy wipes.
I'm going to,
Baby wipes.
there's a handy wipe for
Baby
each of
wipes.
you. Baby
Baby
wipes.
wipes.
Here you go, Nicholas. Just
Yeah,
to, just
here we
to
go.
wipe your hands after you finish with the snake.
Because it's highly poisonous.
Come on,
Here you go.
come on. Because
All right.
it's highly poisonous. What? No,
These,
here you go, Andreas.
they lose their skin
You never-
every 2 months. How you,
You
doing
never
on
know
that
where the
head?
snake is
You
going.
okay? Good.
I know, I
Okay,
see
I
it.
don't mean
I
to
see
leave you. That's
There
great.
you go.
Okay.
Here you
Steve,
go.
shall we just leave this room?
Let's just leave them.
Okay. Thanks a lot, folks. We're going to...
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. No, tell them to put it down on the floor. Everybody
Okay, what
put
do you
it
do with
right
a
down on
16
the floor.
Just lay it down on the floor.
Just right down
Very
on the
carefully.
floor. That's good. Thank you very much.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's powerful. You feel a muscle?
Oh, thank you.
And I want to thank, I want to get my friends up here who helped us, Mary and Steve,
Come on up.
Rich, Bonnie. Thanks for a good presentation, Mary. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll get that in.
Jim,
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
You need some,
Thank
need
you.
some help?
Yeah, you're welcome.
grab some.
The new word, as a final thought, the new word is not conservation, folks. The new word is sustainable consumption. That's what we have to talk about. There's a whole nother language that has to occur if we're going to help save the natural world.
I want
Thank
to
you.
show. I want to show you one other thing. And of course, this guy is so busy with animals, he doesn't think about the commercial side. This is Jim's book, new book on the Jim Fowler's Wildest Places on Earth. You got to really see it. It's a fabulous book, and it's basically based on all the places he's done his
Okay.
adventures. And
Thank you.
if you haven't seen it, you ought to get to take a look at it. It's wonderful. Pardon? Unfortunately, because he is very uncommercial, he didn't have it in the book. So you should have had it.
Nature Company.
Nature Company. We sent to the Nature Company.